Does anyone give him the link? Okay, I'll just do it. Mm, 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 mm. So I see that you guys aren't too big on mobile automation. Yesterday, I kind of realized that I should have done a bit more practice before getting into the session, mentoring session, and in general, like yes, Paul, definitely. I'll go over data reader. So, I mean, regarding the mobile automation, I think we should practice a bit more if we are to put it on a resume. Otherwise, you can scratch it out. You can definitely take it out. But if you are to put it in your resume, at this point in time, I don't think I can do it. I need more practice. I mean, at the current stage that I'm at right now, I cannot put mobile automation on my resume. So I need more practice. Show us different options of Source Lab and Jenkins, how we can explore more options to customize our running projects. Sure, Amit, definitely. Um, what I came up with a solution. Okay, Amit, do you have like two computers? Do you have one more than one? Okay, what I have like I do have the similar setup, so I have two machines, and I am working on one and running my test on the other one. Instead of us instead of us going to Jenkins, oh, sorry, Sauce Labs or Browser Lab and paying them, I mean, we can get trials, free trials, but those trials are going to run out pretty quickly, especially if you're going to be running a parallel test, which I would recommend you try doing it, run the test in parallel. So, you know, that time you just wouldn't even realize how quickly that runs out really fast. So I tried it on browsers. I mean, how many emails are you gonna sign up with? I mean, it's just gonna be a hassle for you to, keep on signing up. So what I did instead was to set up on the other machine. So I did same thing what they're doing on a very small scale. So I just have one operating system and I have one browser that I'm running it in, and I run all my tests on that one. So this is something which you should also be familiar with. I'm referring to Selenium Grid. Selenium Grid is basically what these guys are running. It's like a server. So you have a hub, you have nodes. Hub is the which controls all the nodes. Node is where what you will be connecting to if you want to run the test. So you can have, let's say, 10 nodes, and you can distribute all your tests among those 10 nodes. So one module would be running on one, the other one could be on the other one. Without running, if you could show only configs. Sure. Haven't you been able to run it on Browser Stack or Sauce Labs at all? I mean, you tried doing it? Were you able to run it on Browser Stack? Okay, Sauce Labs working for you, but the Browser Stack isn't working. It's the same thing. It is the same thing, just few parameters are different. I'll show it to you. All right, I know once more, I know you guys aren't too big on mobile, testing. Anyone want me to go over mobile? There's not a lot that I can cover. I can try to explain what we did yesterday, and I'll try to explain it in a more better way, quickly, and then we can move on to other things. Or you guys just don't want to go over mobile at all? All right. So I'll try to spend only like 30, 45 minutes on this one, and the rest we can go over other, web testing, Selenium, Selenium Grid and stuff like that. All right. So you know the rules, guys. Once you start the session, you mute, and then you unmute, and you speak, and then you mute again, and then that's it. That's the end of the session. So you keep on repeating these steps until the session ends. All right, guys. Same rules as always. Works out fine. So, all right. So what we will be doing today, we'll be going over another page. We'll pick up an alerts page. In that page, basically, there are different types of alerts that a developer can use when developing his or her iOS app, or any other app. There are like bunch of different kind of uh, Okay. There are like bunch of alerts that developer can use. Maybe it's just like an okay acknowledgement kind of alert. Maybe it's yes and no. Maybe send, cancel, send. Maybe perform another action on top of that. So there are a bunch of alerts available for to a developer as part of their like SDK. They can use whatever they want to use. So this is what we will be testing. This app has one page on which they have a bunch of alerts that they're showing. I'll quickly show it to you, and then we'll go over to automate it. It was tough the way this app is designed. I could not get all the elements in an array, so that's kind of hassle. I prefer getting it after looking at how Mafi Bhai told us how we can grab all the elements in an array, and how this makes our life so much easier. I wish I could do it, but even there isn't any way that I can um, grab those elements in an array, the easier way. But so we'll just, grab them individually and work with that for now. Maybe later on, there may be a way we can figure it out, or maybe the apps that in the future we may be dealing with, they're designed in a way that we can grab all the elements. But this specific one isn't designed so nicely. It's just that they've pretty much thrown everything in there. So that's the thing. All right, so it's loading up. Doo-doo-doo. This app is mainly a demonstration of did run test without restarting VM? Didn't get time, Paul. I did not get time. I mean, I was, doing some other stuff today, running a few errands, and I was really busy. I couldn't get a chance to do it, but uh, I wish I had now. I remember it now. Now that you mentioned it, I was like, oh, I should have done that instead of. I ended up spending a lot of time, um, finding the element because on that page the element isn't where I want to do when I want to tap. Let's say I want to tap this one, so it's yeah, I was under the assumption that I would have to scroll down because the other day the Mafia was telling us, but if I were to just simply click it by XPath, it's going to scroll down automatically and it's just going to click it. So I mean, I ended up spending a lot of time for nothing. Maybe that's I mean, we had to scroll in the older versions of Appium. The newer version is getting smarter and smarter, so it's just gonna scroll down to that and it's automatically gonna do it. That's what I kind of found out. But and maybe it works in this app, maybe it wouldn't work in the other app. So there are a bunch of actions that is available to a developer, as I was explaining earlier. So this is like a simple alert. There you go. That comes from the bottom and has a title, and they're okay and cancel or whatever. I mean, we've seen all these, so maybe we want to do a custom one, different types of buttons. So you click on this one and something happens. And mm, so there is this one that comes up on the window. I mean, not from scrolling from the down, coming from the down, but instead it's an alert. And the other one is like a controller. No, sorry. The other one is, what do you call it? So it's an action sheet and alert view. So one of these is action sheet, the other one is alert view. And then there's an OK cancel. You see over here you have a message, so you click OK, you hit cancel. If you click OK, it's going to go do something. If you hit cancel, it's just not going to do that. Then maybe you have a custom couple of buttons here, rate the app, stuff like that. You see those ones very often, and maybe this one too, right? So you see this one too. This comes a lot. So you enter something, and based on this, you get the action. So we'll be clicking each one of these today. So let's go and do it. Again, it's the same thing that we did yesterday, and not too fancy. Again, there isn't like, I don't think what we can do with the app that we have. And again, I couldn't find a better app. It's just the same thing. Or other than this, we did pickers. I mean, I think this was a tough one, but we were able to do it yesterday. I'll go over this once more quickly. I spent 5 minutes on this for people who quite didn't get it yesterday how we did it. So we're gonna start off with the easier one. So we're just gonna be, pointing towards this using the X path, and we'll be clicking on it. So let's grab the X path for each one of these, and let's, build up our UI first. So now we have our alerts class. So we're going to start implementing this alerts class. So let's start by, start off with the first one. So blah, 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 blah. All right. So the first one is action sheet and show simple. All right. So, okay, show action sheet simple. All right. So what we'll do is we need the XPath for this one. So let's go into our Appium. We don't have the inspector running. All right, we'll run it now. I hope by this time no one has any issues regarding to running their Appium or their Android app or any of those apps. I hope that's not an issue. All the configs are done. You're able to run the simulator, emulator, whatever applies to you. Okay, so we have this button. So we want to click on this, right? So you want to grab the XPath for this one, the entire thing. So see, they're all text. They're all in table cell. I mean, if I were to grab all of these, it's going to grab the heading and the text and the explanation, and then the next heading, and then another, that's the button, and then this one. So I would be able to grab all of these and get it one by one. I mean, skip this one and click on this one, skip this one, skip this one, and then click on this one. So I mean, that's one way of doing it. If I were going to do, I mean, if I'm going to put in that much effort, might as well grab the just XPath for each one of these. So what's the difference? So let's go. So we simply just want to do click by XPath, and there you go. So this is gonna be clicking it by XPath. All right, that's it. So let's go to the second one, which is did I grab the right one? Show simple. That's the one. That is one. Alrighty. So okay, well, the next one is show OK action sheet, show OK cancel, action sheet, OK cancel. And this one is number 4, is it? I believe. Number 3. See, that could have been another way. I could have grabbed it and then I could have, referred to only the elements in the array that I think would be the one. For the first one would be 0, and then the third one would be second. So I mean, that's another approach. I could have, done it that way, but I mean, it's the same thing. I'm still going to be counting, right? So let's just, do this. So now we have action sheet and action sheet customize. So this is the one that we're going to do. Action sheet customized, and the address for this one is this is the 5th one. So this is the 5th one, and then we have another one which is all right. So show customize. Okay, so alert view simple. Then we have show alert simple, and this is number 7. Okay, and then we have simple OK cancel, which is number 9. Alrighty, so I'm just gonna copy this one and This is show custom. Which one is it? All right, static text, right? Let me just open it up and scroll down. So we did the simple alert and then OK cancel and then alert custom, right? So that's the one. Simple, customized, and actually we already have this one, 11. Just gonna use that one. And let's just, do this. And the last one is alert with text input. Show simple text input. All right, so which is just gonna refresh this. Okay. So this is basically secure text, simple text, secure text actually, secure text input, and the path is number 13, right? So that's the one, and let's go in our test. So we will have, all right, so all right, another method that I have on this page is not this page, on the test. So let's just, start from the beginning so that you guys have an idea of what we're doing here. So if I'm gonna be, testing each one of these items one by one, which would mean that I'd have to open the app and then go here and then click one of these. Then the next time when it's gonna come up, it's gonna open this again, and then I'd have to go back in this and then click on this one. So I'm doing the same task over and over again. So rather than me initializing that page, the UI custom page, and then navigating to the alerts page, what I'll do is I'll create a method for this over here. So let's create a method, and this is gonna be alerts and alerts and alerts. Okay, now in this, what I want to do is first I want to initialize the UI catalog, which is the main page. So I'll do page factory initialize using driver, which is AD in this case, and the class that I want to initialize is UI catalog dot class. All right, so in this class, what I want to do is I want to get the alerts page. Once I do get the alert page, what I want to do, I want to return initialize page factory of which one, using driver, and initialize alerts dot class. So once I do this, I'm gonna call this alerts, this entire method. Once I call this, I would have access to all the elements that are residing inside this class, alerts.class. All right, so let's just start writing the test. So first test is gonna be public void test what. So the first thing we're testing is action sheet simple. Action sheet simple. All right. So what do we want to do? First of all, we want to go there, right? Sorry, alerts. Okay, once we get there, what we want to do, we want to click, we want to do show action sheet simple. So it's going to click on that. And let's just add a quick sleep here. 2 seconds, all right? So we see how things are going. Otherwise, it's just gonna quit it quickly. Alrighty, so another test. It's gonna be public void test, which is the next one. Action sheet, okay, cancel. All right, action sheet, okay, cancel. And then again, same thing. So you see, I don't have to write these three lines over and over again. Just do it once, and I'm gonna call the same function, and then sorry, same method, and I'll be able to move forward from there, from that point. So then show action sheet, okay, cancel. All right, and then we add sleep for 2 seconds. Just to get an idea. Do it afterwards. And then public void test action sheet custom, right? Yes, custom. And I want to do alerts dot get action show action sheet custom. Alright, so I'm just gonna rename one of the methods. This one, it should be show simple custom. Alright. Okay, so once I do this, I'm just gonna add a quick 2-second sleep so that we see what it is doing. Okay, then we have the customized, we did that one. So alert view, test alert, and simple. So alert dot show simple, alert simple, and again we do a quick sleep just to see if it's gonna show or not. Alrighty, test public void test alert okay cancel, and then it's gonna be alerts dot show alert show simple okay cancel. There you go. Right, this is the one, right? Show alert okay, show simple okay. I don't like the name. Let's go back and quickly change the name. Show alert. It's not simple okay cancel. This is actually supposed to be alert okay cancel, because that's what we're getting. Okay, and then again we add a quick sleep of 2 seconds just to see if it is working or not. Okay, so come on, void test, which one is the next one? So we did okay cancel, and we want to do alert custom. Okay, alerts dot show alert show again, I don't like the name. I made a mistake over here, so it's not simple custom. Basically, it's alert custom. All right, so let's just go and fix it. Okay, so because there are two different types of alerts. So either we're getting it through the action sheet that comes from the bottom, or we get the alert option, which comes on the screen. So in Android, there may be different way of handling the alerts. I mean, they may not different way of handling it. You may still be clicking it by, or getting the alert, or clicking on a button. That's what we're doing. But in terms of how the alerts are shown for a developer, it may be different. A developer may be using a different kind of code for showing alert, because they may have different kinds of alert. They may not even have this, they may have the alert thing, but they may not have action sheet. They may have something else other than that. I mean, I'm not quite sure if they have this thing that comes from the bottom. But if there is, that could be one of the things. So, all right, so let's do a test. Public void test. So So basically, this is secure input text because it is asking us to enter a password. All right. So that's why it is secure input. So I'm just gonna be renaming this one as well. I know. Okay. So again, alerts dot show secure text input. Okay. Okay. I knew. Alrighty. So okay. So let's just copy this, copy, and keep pasting. Should have done it like this, the entire thing. Okay, 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 and you too, and you as well. Alright. So basically now we should be able to navigate to that page and click on one of these items. Now the most important thing is still missing, the assert, even if we're gonna get that or not. Alerts again, please. Sajjan, we're basically which method? Okay, the alerts method. Okay, so basically, how we would be navigating to this page. I mean, if you want to click something in each test, if you want to click something, first we would have to navigate to that page, right? Because it's not on the main page, it's not on the landing page of the app. So the app opens up. We need to go somewhere, and then we need to click on it, right? So we click here, and then we click on this one. So basically, this action where we get all these elements. From these elements, we want to click on alerts, and after that, we want all of these methods to be available to us. So these are the three things that we will always be doing if we want to click any of these buttons. So instead of us writing in each and every test to grab all the elements, page factory this page, and from there you click on the element which is referring to alerts, and then what you do is you page factory this page, and then you perform a method. So these three lines, what we're going to do, we will do it here. So it's because we want to return the alerts of the type object type is going to be alert that we want to return from this method. What we will do, we'll initialize it using this alerts, and then within that, what we will do is we'll do a page factory for UI catalog of type UI catalog, and what will be inside this, it basically initializing driver, and we'll be initializing this class. So it's going to be inside, we're going to be page factoring this thing, and once we do this, what we can do is we would have access to all the elements that are on the main page. So once we have access to all these, what we want to do is we want to click on the alerts. So okay, let me just quickly show it to you. So this is what we are doing. When we do page factory, this is what we're doing, and from there we want to call this method, which is going to return new alerts. I mean, I know this is doing it over here. I mean, I kind of could have avoided the I think I could have avoided this line as well, because it's returning me that one, but I still kind of did it anyway. So we go get alerts. After that, we have all the options and everything over here, but since we do not need anything from within this one, but we just want to initialize this, and we want to return this this method alerts. So that every time we call this method, it's going to do this, it's going to do this, which means it's going to take us to this page, and we will have access to all of this, right? So that's what we're doing.
So that gives me out many. So page factory, that initial element, this like a keyword?
Yes.
Okay, because
it's a method, page factory. We're calling a method.
Do we implement that method, or is being created for us, and we just get it imported?
This is basically page factory. This comes from Selenium page factory over here, support.pagefactory. This is where it's coming from.
Because I know some of the students, they wanted to know, like, they think we might already created a page factory class somewhere, then we call it this, just to make it clear. Is this imported from somewhere?
I did a session on page factory. Quickly, what page factory is? It is a repository of all the web elements. Basically, this is what the page factory is useful for. So we have a bunch of page elements. We initialize it rather than us initially creating an instance. So this is what we can do. We can page factory that into this this variable of type UI catalog, we mean of this object, and using that we would have all the access to all the repositories that are residing inside this class. So basically, that's what a page factory is used for. You know, a repository of our web elements. Uh, and why are you doing return page factory alerts? Because once we perform all of these, we want to have access to whatever methods or whatever web elements reside inside this class alerts. So once I'm going to return this, so after this I would have access to everything that is inside, you know, all these methods that we created inside the alerts class. So all of this is going to be available to me if I do the page factory and if I do return page factory. Kind of makes sense?
Just to make it clear, Bilal, you know, like line 15, what Bilal do the UI catalog that get alerts. So this way he is going to just return the alert. He didn't have to go to the parent. Like he didn't have to go UI catalog that get alert that get the method. So he cut it short by providing this line 15 UI catalog that get alerts. Then he return the page factory get alerts, so he can just go alerts that this, alert that this, whatever he had, whatever method under alert class. If I'm right?
Exactly. So this is where I'm initializing this class UI catalog so that I have access to all the methods that are inside it. So if I want to call one of these methods which are residing inside the UI catalog, this is what I'll do. I'll call this variable UI catalog, and then I would have access to all the elements or the methods that are residing inside it. So get pickers or get button page, that get controls. So all these, I mean, this you will see that are residing inside the UI catalog. So I get access to all these once I do the page factory. So after this, I want to do another page factory that would be of uh, the alerts, which I don't want to do anything over here. I just want to return that. So whenever I call this, I would have access to, afterwards, I would have access to all the elements that are residing, all the methods that are residing in alerts.class. So, which is again this one, this class. So from here, from the main page, after initializing, I get access to all of these. So I pick whatever method I want to call. So what I do is I call this method, get alerts, right? So what this method is doing, it is calling the page. That means it is basically getting all the elements over here, and then it is clicking on the one that basically is alerts. So it clicks on this one. This method basically does uh, this thing, clicking on this, the first one. How it clicks on this one? By first grabbing all the elements that are on the page, and from there it knows that the index for this one is basically 10. So on the 10th element, or from 0 to 10th, basically this is the 11th element. So click on the 11th element that you're grabbing from there, from all of these. So what it does is it clicks on this one. And afterwards, what I'm doing here is I'm basically returning all of these. How I'm returning all of these? By doing return page factory and return this class, alerts.class. Instead of me storing this inside a variable of this object type, I am basically returning it. So after I call this method, I would have access to all the methods. So here I'm calling the method. Once I call this method, it's going to do all of these. And the last thing it will do is it will do this, making all of these available to me. So I would have access to all of these. So I'm going to be navigating from here, and then I would have access to all the elements. Then I can click on any of these. Kind of understood, Sachin?
Bill, I think is going we're going to make it very clear. If we eliminate the like line 15, then we can add the UI catalog in front of the alerts for every code. So this way we can show like how we eliminate one single step each time. Like let's
Yes.
say if you comment line 15, then you have to mention UI catalog in front of the alert method in each test. See what
Okay,
I'm saying?
let me just do it.
Yeah.
Yes, Atman, quickly, let me just show it to you. So if how I would be doing it traditionally, I would basically be doing UI catalog, and then I'll be doing UI catalog, and then the page factory, initialize the class using the driver, and which class I want to initialize and store it in UI catalog dot class. All right. So then what I'll do is I'll do UI catalog dot get alerts. All right. So once I get to the alerts page, what I'll be doing is I will be creating another variable of type uh, alerts, and inside it I'll be doing page factory dot initialize elements using driver, which one, alerts dot class. Now what I'll do it, I'll do alerts dot show whatever, so this one is action sheet simple, so I'll do show action sheet simple, right? And so I would have to do this, all these three lines in every method. So what I did instead, I created a method on the top of the test, and I'm just calling that, and I'm having access to whatever is inside this one. So hence one line of code instead of all these three in every test. So this is what I'm doing here. Kind of understood? I hope this was clear. So I'm just going to run the test now. Let's just close this. And while the test is running, I mean, you guys can, you can kind of question me on this thing. So let's close this, stop this, and launch it again. And let's just, run it. I did the same thing in our like web apps, and it was kind of really easy. So when we have a lot of tests on the same page, so and we navigate from the home page to that page. So from home page, I navigate to a menu. From that menu, I go to a tab, and from that tab, I select a link. So all these, I created a method on top of the test for that specific page, and that's what I'm doing. So I mean, it kind of made things easier. So doing the same thing over here as well. MD Sarkar, can you kindly mute yourself?
Sorry.
Thank you. Was that a fan in the background? Or just like the noise of your of your computer? It's kind of cold for a fan, no? Okay, so it's gonna go to alerts. Then it's gonna tap on the first button, show simple. Oh, it did. Let's show customized. Oh, because uh, it's gonna be, you know why it didn't do the first ones, even though that's the first method we're writing here, because it's gonna run the method based on their name. It's gonna sort them, and that's how it's gonna be showing, it's gonna be doing all of that. So you saw the alert. Now we should also handle the alert, or at least assert this that this is the kind if this is the kind of error or alert that we're getting, that means we're clicking on the yes alphabetically. So this means that we're clicking on the right one. So I haven't done the assert over here, but we should be doing that. Yes, Othman, we need to set the priority. I was doing this every time, but I'd recommend you only do it if it's really necessary to go from one step to another. Because when I tried running this in parallel, it would not execute another test until that one is over. So it would, run the first one, then the second one, and the third one. So it was kind of a hassle. So I had to, go back and remove it. So I decided, from now onwards, I would only add it. Now I know how to do it, but I'd only do it if it's really necessary for me to go in and order. Otherwise, I'll just not do it because it's just not. I kind of figured out that it's not like a good practice. What if, you want to grow, and you want to execute your test in parallel? So you have to go back and remove all those priorities that you set. Such a waste of time. So that's why. Again, it depends on how you've set up your framework. If you are not closing the browser and opening it again, and you're running the test on the same page, you're not closing it, and you're still remaining on the same page, then you might want to run those tests in an order. Maybe you want to do the login test, and you don't want to go away. You don't want to close the browser. You want to go on to the next page, onto the next test, and you want to see what happens afterwards, and then you want to do another test, and you want to see how what happens afterwards. So in that case, in case, I mean, you're not closing and opening the browser in your before class, sorry, before test, sorry, before method. So if you don't have before and after method, you have, let's say, before class, after class, or maybe before test or after test, before suit, after suit, or you're grouping by, before groups, after groups. If you're doing one of those annotations, if you're using one of those annotations, I mean, it really depends on your requirement and the need. Maybe you do want to have a priority. Again, it really depends on that. Would also depend on how you set up your framework too. So I think that is when we should be, setting up the priority. Otherwise, as long as they're running, they're passing. Who cares? What priority they're running at, and um, kind of is. What we did today is almost the same as what we were doing in our web app testing. Honestly, I don't see any difference. It's pretty much the same thing. Instead of us, uh, running the Chrome driver or the Firefox driver, we're running, we're doing this in uh, an APM driver. But that's pretty much what the difference is. Instead of us using the Firebug, we're using Appium to inspect the elements. What else? So far, what we've done, there's nothing different from what we were doing in web and what we're doing here. This is actually simpler, but it's because we're dealing with a simple app. But I mean, I do not see this more different than what we were doing in the other one. Which is why, I mean, I mean, since I can see that it's almost the same thing, I'm kind of, encouraging everyone to, take this seriously as much as seriously you took the other one. This is just an added thing that you can put on your resume. That's why. Have any questions so far, what we've done today? No? Thank you, Atman. You always appreciate it. I kind of noticed that like people are awfully quiet when we're doing the mobile part. I mean, they're not very active, really participating. So just opening the app, running the method, and closing it and doing it all over again. Yeah, yeah, Sachin. Unfortunately, this is how this is set up. So this is how we have set up our frameworks in both cases. So we were using the annotation before method and after method. So a test basically what it comprises of all these methods, right? So this is a test, and this has a one method. Can we use navigate back? Yes, we can. There are a lot of things that we could have used, but for that we will have to go back and make some changes to the framework. We can introduce, instead of us using before method and after method, what we can do is we can use before test and after test, and in between those tests we can close the app and launch the app again. So that's what we can do as well. Like there are a bunch of ways of handling this instead of doing it this way, booting up the whole thing and doing it that way. So you just close the app, open the app again. Apple has sandboxing. So if you close the app, it closes it completely. Nothing is running in the background. Sometimes if there is running something in the background, there is a module that could run in the background. So that's how it gets the location information and everything from you, and that's how you kind of get notified that there is a new message. Let's say you're running WhatsApp on your phone, so something is running in the background that gives you a message. But those are just limited things that a developer is allowed to run in the background. It's not that you can run the entire app, just a portion of it. That is like a listener, which is only listening for the new messages. So sometimes you might want to restart it. There are different requirements. There could be it may be a requirement for you to not just close the app but to reboot the device because say something may be running in the background and you don't want that. So that is a possibility. Again, I mean, you should be familiar with how these things work. You should be familiar with the before and after annotation. There are different variations of it. The before class, first we need to understand why we are doing before method and after method and what would actually it's doing. So a test is, again, as I said, comprised of all these methods, this method and this method. So it is basically performing all the actions before executing this method, and it is performing all the methods in the after method that we have in the after method annotation after this method. We can also do before class. So this is one class. We may have more than one test classes like we have here. So it's going to run one of these one by one. It will run one of these, and it will just before the class it will boot up the device and launch the app and go forward, go back, and something like we can navigate back to. Uh, Again, it depends how we have set up our environment, what are the needs. We should understand how we can, based on our requirements, we can kind of modify the framework. Um, Currently, this is how it was set up. I didn't have enough time to kind of change it, but if I had, as Paul noted, yes, pointed it out yesterday. If we can do it, yes, we can do it. Wish I had done it. And then the same thing he pointed out yesterday, asking me if I have done it. If I had done it, I mean, we would have been, over with this, and we would have moved on to something else. But we can still stop it. You see how it's doing it. So just wanna see how. Did you guys see if it scrolled down? I don't know. I was kind of busy talking. I kind of missed it. Where it would scroll down, or I mean, uh, yeah. You see how it scrolled down, found the element, scrolled down just enough so that that one is visible, and then it clicked on it. So that's what I just wanted to, demonstrate mainly, that if we are to, just say click by XPath and we provide the XPath, if it's on the page, it's going to navigate to that and it's going to click on this. So that's pretty much what mainly I wanted to do regarding this. Other than that, I still think I am not really prepared for this. I need to put in more time and practice into mobile automation. I wish I had, some other app that we could have tested other than this CUI. But if we can still, we are able to test the entire app, all of it, including assert, if we're getting the right text box and whatnot, if we are able to do all of this, then you consider yourself ready for it. Because I noticed that it has all the elements that, all the kind of elements that we may encounter in real life. It has, alerts, it has picker, and it has sliders. So another thing I would wanted to do was the slider, how we can, change the sliders from, 0 to 100, like whatever we want to do in between. I didn't get time to look into it. So I'm just not going to waste everyone's time into searching for it, how it is done. Right now, I'll probably have another session if, I don't know if I will or not. Let's see. Maybe we can ask Mafi Bhai to show it on the weekend, how we can interact with a slider. So if we are able to, perform the actions on all these elements, consider yourself, ready for mobile as well. That's all. Because these are all the elements that could have been used in today's apps. What are the missing ones? Maybe a map embedded inside the app. I don't see that over here because that came out afterwards, after this app was designed. This is pretty old. This is like 2 years or 1 year old app that came with with this. So there are a lot more changes in the software, both iOS and Android. They have more options. There are times when you might be using your finger for a payment. You might want to test the payment, Google Wallet, or you want to test the Apple Pay. So maybe what you are dealing with an app that would have that option. So what you would be doing, you will be simulating a matched finger and an unmatched finger. So you'll be simulating that to see if you're able to successfully get into the app or perform a task if the finger matches or if the finger doesn't match. So that's not included here. So I mean, these are the things that are not part of it. Again, you might want to simulate a shake, gesture. Like you want to shake the device. What happens? Because sometimes a shake would have, usually shake is like an undo thing. If you have an iOS device, if you don't know it, if you type something and you want to do, if you erased it, you don't want to do it. You just shake your device and you will get the prompt of undoing it. You just hit undo. So that's, you shake it, you get something, you tilt your device. There are a lot more things that you could do which are not part of this, but this is still is a lot. If you're able to, practice all of these, then I'd say consider yourself set for it, for the environment. Then you're kind of good. This is basically, your starting point. Afterwards, you can practice more, grab more apps, and work on it. So there you go. What we did not do today was to switch to that alert and either do OK or cancel, or even assert to see if it was coming up or not. So this is it for what we did regarding the mobile. Again, I'm not really prepared myself for mobile. There's a lot more that we could do regarding this. Hopefully, if I'm ready and if there's another session, then I'll go over it. All right, so let's close this. The mobile. Okay, okay. Actually, let me just push the code as well. Close the server. So we did alert test added. All right. So there you go. Alrighty. So now back to our web. Now everyone's hello everyone. Wake up. If you're sleeping, it's time to wake up because now we're gonna be finally doing uh the web. Alrighty. All right. So concerns. What problems are you facing, guys, facing so far? Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Oh, is someone else going right now? Yeah, are they going to show you something? Or you want me to go?
Just one second. Paul, do you mind if he goes first, or do you have a simple question? Okay. All right. So, where are you? Was it you, Herman, right? No,
Oh,
it was
Zabit.
Zabit. Yes, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure, so,
Sorry, guys.
so which screen are you able to see? The test, I
Yes,
mean,
yes,
IntelliJ, right?
your IntelliJ, yeah.
Okay. So this is the basic code I have written right over here.
Okay.
So pretty much what I'm trying to do is, let me just show you where I'm at. So let's just say, when I launch it, it automatically like it comes to this page. Then I select this right over here, and once I select this, it opens up in a new tab for some odd reason. I don't understand. I mean, no, no. It comes to this, right? So it comes to
Yeah.
find doctor. Then I go and click on this part right here, find
Mm-hmm.
the medical physician, and then it opens a new tab. And once I come to this tab, I tried, entering a zip code and then clicking next, but it just freezes here at this page. So I don't know how to gain control to this current page here. That's what I'm having a problem with. So then going back to the code here, so these two works fine. This takes me to the second tab here, but then after that, pretty much what I try to do is just, I tried clicking on even one of the links without clicking on the zip code, and that doesn't work either. I was just trying like multiple,
It says
tests.
element not present. Does it say something like that? Throws an exception?
Yeah, here, let me run it so that way you can see the code, the error code.
Basically, the page isn't initialized. This is what I can see from the top of from my head. I think this is what's going on. So you need to grab the elements, call a class for that page, and use the driver on that page as well. I think this is what you would have to do. If you're
In
able
order
to,
to get access to the second tab.
yeah. It's not just you accessing the second tab, but initializing that page as well. I think this is what's happening. I think so. But since you're hard coding it, I don't see a problem. It should kind of work. It should. Uh, okay, let's see. Okay, yes. So it opens up in a new tab, and now you can't do anything.
Yeah, in this page it just gets stuck. So first I wrote the code to enter the zip code, but I commented that out. So what I was trying to do is to see if I could click on this one. I mean, just clicking on this link doesn't work either. So nothing in this page works.
Yes. Okay. So basically, when we run our tests, and
Uh-huh.
even if we don't have that's not the active window. Like let's say we are running a test and we're working intelligent. The tests are running in the background. That
Hmm.
would still work, right? So the driver part of basically your driver is still on that first page. It still has the control of the first page. So you not only have to navigate to the next page, but you have to move your driver's control over to the next page as well. So for that, I think you would be using the window handler. Make that as your active window and then perform tasks on it. I think this is how this would work. Yes. Sorry, what? Yes, yes, you could. Sometimes it's hard-coded, Paul. Sometimes the page is designed in a way that it's telling the browser to open it in a new window or a tab. So sometimes that's the behavior, how they've designed it. They want the first page to. Sometimes you may be dealing with a page that you would want to log in, and you're navigating to an external site. Let's say you're on your bank's page, and it's taking you to a link. So you don't. It doesn't want you to leave your bank page. It wants you to stay logged in and then open up a new page. So I wouldn't recommend that setting. I mean, forcing your browser to open it in the same page. Rather, finding a way to transferring your control over to that. So Zabit, I will look into this. Again, I don't want. I tried doing it in the first few minutes. What I found was that you could do it using the window handler. So instead of you switching your control over to the next one, I
Uh-huh.
think you try doing the window handler way. If you're able to do that, then definitely I think that's the way to go about it. Again, I'll look into it, but I can't do it now. Maybe towards the end of the session we have time, and I'll look into this. I
Okay.
kind of understood what is happening here. Again, it's not just making your window active because we can have the window minimized and we can run the test. I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to show the same thing what I'm talking about right now, that the test would still keep on running even if it's not the active window. So making the window active wouldn't necessarily mean that you have control of it. The driver is still on the other page. So it's still going to be performing the task on the other page. So that's what's happening here.
Okay, I understand. We'll
All
go
right.
over it later.
Alrighty. All right. Anyone
Okay,
else?
thanks.
You're welcome. Sorry, Aman, what are you saying? Using Excel for typing, do a fast overview? Okay. How do we get the data from Excel and we can, type it? Okay. That's what Paul wanted me to go over as well, the data reader. I guess we can do that first. There are two words now. Okay. How do I show my screen? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, presenter, presenter. All right. So basically how we can read and write from Excel. Uh, in our case, we have a class, data reader class. We wouldn't call it data reader in real life. It's just that we're referring to data reader in a class in our in this course is because we have a class named data reader, which is basically reading from Excel. But what we're actually doing we are using the HSSF and which is the other one. Yeah, so we're using the HSF workbook method. Basically, that's what we're doing. So how we do it? First, we create a string of type data. Sorry, like we create an array. This is a two-dimensional array, and then we have a file path. And then what we want to do is we want to open that file in its input stream, file a new input file stream, which of this file that we're going to be passing here, that's going to be the path. So basically we get to this over here. So now once we open that file, what we want to do is we want to get to a workbook. So WB, we're just going to initialize it as new HSSF workbook of FIS. So of this file, we want to create a workbook. So which workbook? And then from the work, so basically workbook is the entire basically your file. So what Excel is comprised of, an Excel file is comprised of a workbook, and inside the workbook you have a couple of sheets. Inside those sheets you have rows and columns. Inside those rows and columns you have cells. So basically this is how you're going about it. So you have, if using the file input stream, you load up a file, and from that file you open, you create a new, variable over here of HSSF workbook type, and within that pass the file name. So basically, what this is doing, this line here, is creating a workbook out of that file, and over inside that you want to go to a sheet. So in workbook.getSheet, go to the zero index. That's the first sheet. Ideally, you would want to be dealing with one sheet. Multiple. You could still deal with multiple sheets. I mean, that's your choice. But I mean, if you're dealing with that much data, it's better to go down your database route. I guess that's a better way of doing it. Then you get the number of rows. So basically sheet dot get last row number. That would mean so if you have a couple of let me just open up Excel. Okay, I'll tell you why I have two readers. So header 1, header 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. A, B, this A, B, C, D. All right. So even though there are cells, but they're not populated yet. So in this case, the last column would be this one, and the last row would be this one. So this is 2 and this is 5, right? So this is how it's basically grabbing all of these. You're saying I have like this file reader and I have like another one over here, this one, right? So you're referring to this thing? No, okay, then what? Arman, you can unmute yourself if that's easier and quicker. Utility.
You have, yeah, in utility, you have data reader and Excel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Excel
they're
reader.
different. Yeah,
How do we get
that's what
this
I was
one?
asking.
I think it's the same thing. No, I think this. Okay, So there you go. Izan Bhai, he added it. Instead of using that one, he added this one, another one. So I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. Even this one is using HSSF, right? So it's just another way. It's of grabbing the information, but I believe it is still doing the same thing. Izan Bhai, is it? Uh, yes, almost. Okay. Um, so he added this one. It's doing the same thing, but again, this was provided to us by Murphy. I mean, uh, there could be once you go to work, and they may have they may have another method of reading it, of reading data from the Excel. Again, this may you may only have one method inside one of your one of the classes in which you have some a method for reading from database, a method for reading from this one, method for reading from somewhere else. So I mean that's why that's what Mafi Bhai was also referring to in his last class, that all of these are going to be inside one class. They're going to be part of one class rather than the other. Like you have all these multiple classes. So then you get the number of rows, the number of columns, and then you store all of this. And basically, then you create a string. Or sorry, what you create over here, data, two-dimensional string, and what you set the value of it is that you create a new one of these many rows and these many columns. So this is over here. Basically, you by now you're only getting the size of the data. You're not getting anything else. Now, once you have the loop, inside the loop is when you will be going through each one of the cells and populating your array, the two-dimensional array, with the same data that is coming from your Excel file. So you go through it and you get the value cell by cell, and then you store it over there in this one, and then eventually you return data. So
Do
that's
you
what it is.
need do you need a Connect database for to run this, or would it run
No,
without
no, no,
any?
no, 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 no,
You
no.
don't need anything, right?
No, 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 no. You just need
It's
the
just
path.
reading. All right, perfect.
The path basically is pointing towards the path, to your file, to your XLS file.
To the
Uh,
file. Okay.
right? So and
That
you what
is
you yeah, so what you're using POI. This is what you would be using for this one. So you may want to use a newer version of POI if you want to be dealing with XLSX. That's the new version of Excel file. So for these ones, you can only deal with the 2007 to the
Are
older
you
version.
using this in any of the um,
Yes.
you are
In my
okay.
in my Amazon, I am using so this is all the data that I'm grabbing. The method that I am using is the column reader. So what this method does is, we tell it the path of the file, and we tell the column number to read. So if you want to read, let's say this column, it's going to grab all the information from this one, excluding the header. So that's how I kind of modified the method over here. That I mean there were two methods in this class, file reader and file reader one. So I changed the file reader one to the column reader. It reads this does the same thing. It just reads it and it excludes the first row. That's
All
what
right,
it's
nice.
doing.
That's nice.
So I'm using in this one. I'm using this in. So I'm searching using ASIN. Search card using ASIN. So I'm searching using this one, and then I check. Then I grab for the search purposes. I grab this one, and okay. First searching, what first it was working for me. I don't know if Amazon made any change to their website while during the last few weeks, using which if I were to search using this one first, I mean I was searching using this one, and the item would come up. So afterwards, I ran this test and started failing, and I noticed that just by entering this number, this ASIN number, it's not working. So for that, I would have to select the department as well. So what I'm doing in my test is basically grabbing all the elements, items to be searched. So using ASIN, so new items to be searched using ASIN. So basically, this is the value that needs to be searched. So I'm basically initializing the class over here, and using that, I'm grabbing the data. Dot get data. Get data is a method inside it that is grabbing the data, which is basically grabbing this column. So this method get data is grabbing this column. You'll see. So I have kind of hard coded over here inside this class to Set property user direct. So set the path, get the directory, which is the user directory, and inside the user directory, you go into this, and this is the file name that I'm pointing to, and read the first column. So whenever I'll be calling this method, it would be reading the first data of this file, so the data file, right? So I kind of hardcoded it there. So I'm calling this method over here. So my test doesn't have the path or anything. Okay, so then the department, I'm initializing another string of type string type, sorry, an array of string, and naming a department, and inside it I'm grabbing all these, and then I'm grabbing all these for which is the title. Basically, if I were to select this department, and if I were to search for this and select the very first, because the result is going to be it's going to return with one result. So click on that one and search for it. Oh, okay, sorry. Okay, so basically, all right. So in the value again, in the value, I am getting the data. This get data method is inside my items to be searched using ASI and class. And over here, I have these three methods to get data. So where is it? So get data. It's of string type, which means it's going to be returning a string. And then I have get cert data. Then I have get department. So these are the three methods that I have inside it. And I have the data reader over here. Using the data reader, I'm able to read all of these. And then yeah, thanks, Armin. But Paul also needs to kind of understand how this is working. So Paul, once I have all these items one by one, get data, get department, get assert data in value, department, assert value. These are the three arrays containing all these. So I run a loop. So inside the loop, what I'm doing here is I'm search drop down select. So I have another method which is basically going to be selecting the drop down. So this method, whenever I call it, I can pass the value, which is first time the loop is going to run, it's going to pass this value, search dash alias equals to electronic. So this is the name, the ID of the drop down, not the text that it contains, not the the index number, but the ID. This is the ID using which it should be pointing. So this is going to be going there. The first time it's going to run, it will select this one. Then search unique item is another method, which this does is it basically it's gonna be filling, and then I pass a value to it. Which value I'm passing to this method? It's this value over here. What this method does is basically populates the text field, the search box on the top of Amazon with that text that I'm providing it over here, and it presses the enter key, and afterward it clicks on the first result that it gets. So the first result it's going to grab that. And in this case, since we are using the unique ID, we would only be returned with one result. But still, I have another method that that I am calling inside the search unique item to call the search first element. So over here, so using Amazon search bar, what I'm doing is I'm calling a method search result first element. What this element is doing, basically what this is doing is it's basically searching for it and then clicking on the first element that it finds. Once it does that, once I'm able to do this, I sleep for 2 seconds, which is not the greatest way to do it, but I was working on this Amazon at the very beginning of when we kind of started this project. So as we move along the course, I found out there are various ways of handling something like this. I should have replaced it, but I kind of stopped working on Amazon and I started my focus on other modules. So we should have used waited for thing over here, wait for something to come up. If it's displayed, then click on it. If not, then I'm doing using what? So I'm getting the product title of get text. So this is another method. Basically, this is this is a web element, product title. So I'm basically inside the search bar dot product title. I'm getting the title that comes up as soon as I load a page. So whatever the title is going to get that, and it's going to get the text. It's going to get the web element, and it's going to get the text. Now, what I'm doing is I'm checking if it contains what? Assert value of position I. In this case, because it's this one, assert value is this one. So this inside this array of first element, because if we're running the loop for the first time, it should check if this has this value. So that's how I am using the data reader in one of my tests. Understood? Paul, you got it? All right, so I take it that you understood. All right. Anyone else? Any other thing you want me to kind of explain how we are, how to, handle a problem or, how to deal with something or some good to go over something else? Alrighty. So before we get into Jenkins and the clouds, first, one more thing I would want to do, I want to, go over one more thing, is that is parallel test execution. What is parallel text execution? Basically, the ability for us to run all these tests, multiple tests at the same time. So we have this test. Okay, this one has only one test. Let's just go to uh, somewhere where we have more than one test. Da, 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 da. All right, so this one. All right, so this one has multiple tests, right? So if we run the test one by one, for do this one and then close that and open it and do this and do this and do this, let's say it would take us 2 minutes, right? What if we are able to run these tests, two tests at the same time? So that would mean it would take that would take half the time, multiple browser instances. Yes. Now, there are multiple ways of dealing with this. You can either run it on the same machine, and if you have multiple core browser or multiple core processor, you can run it on the same machine. Speed wouldn't be affected, but if you're low on resources and if you try to run the same multiple tests on a machine that cannot handle it, then it will take almost the same amount of time, right? So there are multiple ways of handling this. So how we can handle this? We can distribute it among multiple machines as well. There we can again, even with that we have a bunch of options. Again, what Mafi by was what is now we get on to running a test in the cloud. So we understand how we can run multiple tests at the same time. Now browser stack is one of the service providers that would let us run our test in the cloud. Meaning, let's say we don't have resources. We only have resources to run an IDE in which we write our test, and that's it. Let's say I'm writing this test on a Mac, and I have like certain browsers, but I don't have Internet Explorer, right? Because Internet Explorer is not available for Mac. So for that, I need to have a Windows environment, and for that, I would have to have another machine. Let's say I don't have my hands on it. So what I will do is I'll go online, look for one of these sites, either this or Sauce Labs, and I'll set up my parameters, set up my environment, and start my test. So instead of me, running the test locally on my machine, I would be running the test on their machine, on their server, wherever that there is located. So this is me running the test in the cloud. So once I'm running the test in the cloud, I also have the option of running the test in multiple environments on Mac, on different versions of Mac. Let's say I have a certain version of Mac and I have a certain version of Firefox. So I mean, would I start downloading all previous versions of Firefox, start maintaining them, making sure they're working fine? I mean, that itself is another job, maintaining all of that. So I can't afford to do that. I don't have time to do that. I mean, I only have enough time to write the test. And on top of that, I would have to maintain all those environments. So instead, there's a way for me to go online and one of these sites again, either this or Sauce Labs. So if I buy like a plan from these guys, what I can do is I can run my tests online rather than me running it locally on one of my machines. So I would set up the environment, pass certain parameters, and basically this is going to run these tests in the cloud on their servers and whatever environment I'm going to set it to. So how we can achieve that? For that we need to have there's We need to have, we need to set up our framework in a way that instead of it loading these local drivers, it would just load up a remote driver. Basically, so you see how we were getting local driver, we would set the path. Yes?
Bilal, can you minimize your project view from the right so this way we can get the big picture of the code? Thanks.
Okay. So you know how we were, getting the driver locally, get local driver. Uh, Over here, we would check if the cloud environment is true or not. I mean, if whatever way we tell it to, grab the local driver, it's gonna grab the local driver based on whatever options we're providing it. So if you want to go for a Chrome, and if you want to go for Mac, load this Chrome driver. If it's a Windows platform, then go for this. You know, basically based on the options that we're providing it's going to be selecting the browser. Now there's another way, get cloud driver. How we can get the cloud driver? Same thing, not the same thing. So for that we need to have desired capabilities, so that is what we will be passing along with the URL that was provided to us. Who is tired? Who's this guy? Someone's really tired. Is it kind of boring? Sorry.
কালকে
That was you.
আজকে রাত্রে শুনলাম 3টার সময়, ঘুম ভেঙে গেছে 5টার সময়।
MD Hussain, are you there?
কারণ হচ্ছে এর আগের দিন আমি বেশি ঘুমাইছিলাম,
MD Hussain, are you there?
পরে আর ঘুমাই নাই।
Does he know he's inside the
আচ্ছা না,
lecture? He's joined the session? No?
লাগে মনে হইতেছে কেমন জানি।
Is he saying something bad about me or about you? Come on.
একটু পরে একটু বাইরে যেতে হবে।
I'm just gonna mute him. I think he doesn't realize that he has joined the session. Alrighty. So in the cloud, we what we need to do is we need to set certain capabilities. So desired capabilities is the method that we'll be using, creating an object using cap. So inside the cap, we will be setting capability, and the name of the capability would be platform, and we'll set it to OS. OS is going to be whatever OS we want to set it as. We can grab all of that information, from somewhere here. So I mean, whatever you would be really, I've exhausted this. Okay, so there is a way for, okay, there we go, capabilities. So the platform, either say Mac, Windows 8, XP, Windows, any Android. So based on this you set the platform, the browser name, you set this, and for the version, you see the list of all browser versions. So this is what you can kind of select if you're going for a mobile. So if they even provide you with the mobile environment as well, an Android and an iOS. So but if you want to go for web testing, so you go here and you say, oh, Sierra is the OS version, OS X is going to be the OS version, or Mac OS since they renamed it, and then the version of the browser, the name, the Firefox, and then the browser. So basically you need to set all these as part of your capabilities. So you set it over here. So set browser name, they do have this one, but all the rest, the set capability, you have to do it yourself. So you say cap.set capability, the name of the capability and its value. So this is the name of the capability and the value. So you set all of these, whatever is required by the service that you're using, and then you pass all of these. It's okay. All right, I'm just gonna unmute you now, okay? So if you have any questions, you can unmute yourself, okay? Just mute yourself. You can mute yourself now. Yes.
এখন কোনো টিচার নিতেছে না,
He
ক্লাবে
doesn't know.
নিতেছে।
Okay, yeah, sorry. Well, Paul, what are you saying? they would all be you can try with the basic ones. The basic ones again in the documentation, whatever service you're using, they would have the list of capabilities. Or there you go. So these are the default capabilities that you need to have, and then the browser stack capability. So this is where they're outlining what you need to pass if you want to run a test. So you have all these here. So basically, it's the same way. You set capability, what capability OS, and then you set the value right here. So we are saying set capability, and the name of the capability is version, and what set it as browser version. Where are we getting this from? From our parameters, from a runner file. We're passing it from here, and the resolution, like we can try it in different resolutions. I mean, there are like bunch of things that we can do. Other browser stack capabilities, I mean, this is I think this is what they're saying, that these are the mandatory ones and these are kind of the optional ones that you can use. So the name of the test, um, time zone, if you want to change the time zone, maybe it's kind of a requirement for you, the app that you're using, and maybe you want to provide it a virtual environment of a different time zone, so that based on that it populates maybe the time or something like that. So whatever, the resolution, you want to try it in different resolutions, how it would look like if the screen size with this, screen size with that. So based on that, you can kind of provide this as well. So yeah, this is where they're outlining all of these. So if you don't do it, it's just going to use, see over here, the default 102.276. And if you don't pass this, it's going to use this one. Yeah. Which one? Yes. Optional isn't really necessary part over here. It's just that if that is missing from your runner file, then it would take this as if it's not mentioned over there, then it would take this value. So you're passing all these values from the runner, and I mean we are all kind of using it somewhere, one way or another. Some of them are used for cloud environment, some of them are used for local drivers. So some of them are used for both, but some, let's say, for local driver, this is we setting it up so that we would be able to use it in both our machines, Mac and Windows. So this is us setting it up over here. So same thing, they would have set it up on their machines to how they can receive those parameters and interpret it. So, I mean, we're still kind of using all these somewhere. I mean, whatever we're passing in the runner file. Also, if you are passing it from your runner file and you have parameters over here, then you need to make sure that the number of parameters you're passing over here matches with what you have in your runner file, and that also matches with the method afterwards. So this method should also be accepting the same number of parameters. So if they don't match up, it's going to give you an error that either this you are providing like a parameter which this doesn't use. So even if you're not using it over here, you still need to kind of pass it if it's part of your parameter. So let's say I have another one over here. Uh, no, optional is basically if yeah, you're right. Optional is basically when you're not using the parameters. So then it would take into consideration if the value doesn't exist, then you'd use this value. But when you're using parameters, this is what I found out, that I mean if you're using parameters annotation, the number of the parameters that you're passing here should match up with the number of parameters that function, this method is accepting. Yes. Yes. So this one 74. These ones, yeah. So I am basically whatever I'm getting as part of these from this, I am setting this over here as well as part of my common API because I'm using it later somewhere as well. I'm going to show that to you as well. What where I'm using these values. I'm basically saying whatever I'm getting from the runner app because the runner only passes these over here in this one. There's a way for me to use these parameters somewhere else as well, but because I'm getting it over here, and later I have to for parallel testing, I need to have another instance of a driver. Using the same instance of the driver, if I try to run my test in parallel, I face issues. It would throw random errors, throw random exceptions. Either the element isn't available, so they're kind of clashing. If they're like you're running two, Chrome instances and using the same driver, it doesn't work. So I need to have, if I'm running a test in parallel on the same machine, I need to have two different driver instances. So for that, I have another repository, driver factory, which you may have noticed over here. This thing, driver factory. So this is what this class I'm using, which holds my driver, and it's basically thread specific. So for each thread of test, it would have a new instance of a new thread of my driver. So that's what this why I'm using these lines over here. Yes, yes. Let's say you are on a sign-in page on one instance of Chrome, and on the other one you're in your cart. So if the driver picks up web elements from one of the windows, then it would not have the elements for the other one. So if you're trying to point to an element that is on the other one but the driver hasn't loaded it yet, so it would throw you an exception. So that's, I mean, again, it's kind of random. Each time it throws a different exception uh, based on what at what point of test you're in. Yes. I haven't tried that. If you have multiple windows, and if you have multiple, even then, I think you need to have drivers. Multiple instances of driver is still kind of needed. That's what I found out. Because that's also, in my case, the way I've designed my framework, I kind of need it. For the third layer, once I go from one layer to the second layer, and then the third layer of page factory, I need another instance of the driver. So that the first one kind of doesn't carry forward. I've been facing this issue, so I've kind of found out that this is another way of me dealing with this. So I'll explain that one, how I've done that. I'll explain that as well. So and now back to how we are setting up our cloud driver. I mean, a different, there could be a number of ways. Like one service provider may only need this one, capability. For me, the way I set it up, it's really basic. Selenium Grid is what basically is used to set up this environment. So the Selenium Grid that I've set up, it only requires me to pass this one. Sorry, the browser name. That's all I'm passing. So that's enough for me. I don't need to pass any other capability. All of those are going to be ignored anyways. So this is me, sending the all these all the capabilities that we set, and you send all these to a specific link using to the hub, and all these are the capabilities. So that's what we're doing here. Again, it's kind of different for each one. The address, so you're sending it to your source username and then your source access key at ondemand.sourcelab.com:80 wd hub, and then this is the address to which you want to send your capabilities. So this is how you're doing. So you're creating a new instance of the remote web driver, and you're passing all these over here. Sorry, what? If like when I am running it on my Windows machine remotely, this one. Yes. So in that case, I don't provide this. If I'm running it using Selenium Grid, if I'm running it one of the nodes, or if I'm running it through their hub or remotely, then I don't need to set path for my driver, because the path for the driver is going to be set on that machine. So that machine would have the driver. Whatever version of the driver that they're using, they will have to worry about getting the drivers, not me. Like over here, where are my drivers? Over here. So, you see over here, these drivers, I'm not, even when I'm running it in Sauce Labs or I'm running it in Browser Stack, I'm not providing the location to these drivers. They have these on their machines, running on their machines. Or, I mean, they have it over there. So I don't have to worry about it. I need these drivers on the machine I'm running the test. So if I'm running the test locally on this specific machine, I need the driver. I am using Jenkins, but that is running on my other machine. It is Windows, yes. Yes. Okay, so for that, okay, that's again, okay, so I am not worried about that. Once I say to, once I pass these parameters to, whatever platform I'm using, if I say OS is gonna be Mac and the browser version is Firefox, then this service, they know which driver to load. They're gonna do it. So I don't have to worry about that portion, basically. So that's what these capabilities are for. So I pass these capabilities and they're gonna read, okay, these are the capabilities, so point this test to this one, to this machine or whatever machine. So that's how they kind of handle it, using the capabilities. In my case, since like I only have one kind of machine and one kind of driver that I will be loading onto it, I'm gonna show it to you in a second. That's the next thing I will be going over, Selenium Grid. So the way you set it up, basically on this port, you know that there's only one type of driver that's running. So on one port, you can only run on one specific node, and that node could be for Firefox. You would need another node for something else. So that's how it works out. Let me kind of get into it. Let me just show it to you how this is done. Let me see if it is running. Seems like it. Okay. All right. So yes. So you see how this is what I was kind of explaining in the discussions today in our Hangout group, that you can host it anywhere. Your Jenkins server, you can host it anywhere. What you need to do, access it, you need to have the IP address for it. So basically, I'm just entering the IP address and the port that is hosted on for the other machine. I'm pointing towards that, and I just log in there. So this is Jenkins running on my other machine, and I'm running it over here. And that machine also has Selenium Grid. So this is what we will be doing right now. Let's just do it. Let me just join from the other machine as well.
Bilal, this IP address, did you set it up as a static or as dynamic change every time the DNS renew it?
So this IP address is my local on my local network. So I mean, I know how I've set it up my local configuration. So
So you are the one who choose this IP address out of the list, is not the one that sign up automatically by the DNS.
this is not my external IP. This is my internal IP address. So you have an IP address from your service provider. Okay. So basically, this is the cloud, this is the internet, and this is your modem. And okay, this is pretty big. So let me just start over. So this is internet, and this is your router, your modem. Modem slash router. So these are the two things that you need to understand. So a modem is basically which is going to be decoding the signals. It could be a number of things that you could be using. It not necessarily would be a modem that you're using. Maybe you're using what do you use for we call fiber. So if you have a fiber connection, then it would be a digital converter. I think that's what it is. So basically, modem, it means modulation, demodulation. So that's what we are doing if you're dealing with phone lines. So cable modem works in a different way. Everything is transmitted over coaxial, and it kind of converts that way. In a fiber connection, everything transmits in lights. So you need a media converter, basically. Yes. So for that, you need a media converter, which basically converts the signals that it is receiving inside the fiber to to readable by your machine, and from that to machine code, zeros and ones, from light signals. So in fiber, it's transferred using. So yes. So basically, there are two parts of your modem router that is basically shipped to you by your ISP. And then you have all these, right? So one device, other device, maybe your phone, your tablet, your TV, and then your, maybe maybe you have a server, whatever. So this is the internet, or maybe your ISP. This part is your modem. This part is your router, and this is, device 1, device 2, so on, right? Yeah. So basically, your internet provider is assigning you an IP address. In my case, it is right. This is my IP address. Okay. So this is my external IP address. Now, okay, so no, this should not be here. Oh, why? Why? Where is it? So sorry, Control Z doesn't work here. So this is my external IP address, okay? And then there is an address for my router, which is this one. Okay? So this is my IP address, my internal IP address for my router. And then there is a device address on the same subnet dot let's say 2.12, right? This is where my Jenkins is running. So now my Jenkins is running on actually, so this is the IP address of this one, and my Jenkins is running on port 8080. So how would I access this? If I am part of this network, and if I want to access Jenkins which is running on this machine and on this port, what I'll do is I'll go in the browser and I'll type, right? So only if I am on the same network. If I were to type this on somewhere outside it, then this wouldn't work. So what I'll do is, if I'm like trying to access this from from another location, So I'm trying to, this is another modem router, and then I have another, machine. So I'm trying to, access my router from this device from this. So what I will do, I will have to, do 74.12.138.185. Not just this, and then I'll type 8080. Now, 8080 port could be part of anything. So I need to configure my router and modem, or if they're together, so I need to configure this, that if I am receiving 8080 port, if there's if someone is trying to communicate on this port, what to do? Forward all of that to this device. So from here, here, here. So it's gonna, forward this. So if there are external and internal ports. So if the external port being accessed is 8080, then forward it to this port. In my case, it's still 8080. So that's how this kind of works. All right. So yeah, it doesn't matter, man. You go for it. As a matter of fact, if you want to access this, I've set it up. It's dying.
By any chance, Bilal, when you get a chance, even after the session, can you show us how you open the port for that particular, like how you set up the port for that particular call to be transmitted?
Yes. Yes,
And
I'll do.
by the way, when you say external, this is like a public IP address, right?
Yes, this is the IP address. So, Herman, do whatever you want to do. I have all the firewalls in place. So, go for it. Try your best. Yeah, of course. So, yeah, this is what the firewall is for. Preventing all the incoming connections if they're not supposed to, and only open the ports for that specific time. So if I'm not doing that, I mean, it would not open that port. Alrighty. So that's what this is. Okay. All right. So now, since I have my Jenkins on the other machine, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, this one. So on my other machine, I have Jenkins, I have Java compiler that this uses, and I have Maven that again this uses, and I have Jet again, which is used by Jenkins. So Jenkins basically using all these tools and running all these tools at a specific time. It's using Jet to grab the code from a GitHub. It's using Maven to execute to compile to execute. It's going to basically using Maven to read the XML, and whatever is part of the XML is going to be executing all of this. So Maven is running. Yeah. Separate installation JIT. Jenkins, it doesn't have JIT. I mean, JIT doesn't comes with Jenkins. So if you're installing Jenkins, you need to separately have all of these things. Or you can ask Jenkins to download all of that and place it in the directory whatever it's going to place in. But if you already have done it, then you specify the path which you do it over here. So well, that's different. That's different. Well, in the plugins, I am trying to set up as a Maven project. So if I don't do it, I can still, if I don't have that plugin, I would still be able to do it. I would still be able to set it up as, a Maven a project, but that simplifies things. If I am able to get the Maven, I mean, there are different kind of projects. A Maven project basically means that it would have a POM file, it would execute the POM file, which POM file to execute. So all those are going to come up. So Maven configuration, use default Maven, and the JDK installations I provide which Java compiler to use at what time to use. Maybe I'm not running a Maven, so I still need Java to compile my program to compile the app. JIT I'm using, if I'm grabbing JIT from somewhere, JIT is again a source code management tool. GitHub is a version of that in the cloud. So JIT could also be, since same way I have this thing running on one of my machines, I could also be running JIT in one of the machines in the company. Maybe there's the company is big, they have their own JIT server running. So I would be checking out and checking in all the files from that instead of doing it from GitHub. So I mean, I can use Ant for that, and then the Maven installation. I'm telling you this is where the Maven is. So this is how I've kind of configured it. So as long as I have everything over here, and I kind of manage this wherever the server is running, wherever I am running this server, and have all the necessary things, it's gonna run the test. It's gonna basically start the test from there. Now, another thing in my driver on the other machine, then this machine basically. So over here, if I say local, so it's gonna be running on this machine, which is basically the IP address for the other machine in which my Selenium Grid is running. So before I go into Selenium Grid, there are two things that you need to understand about Selenium Grid. That is a hub and a node. Hub is basically where we're basically, let me just see Selenium Grid. Let's see. There you go. This is the one over there on top. So this one. So this is the hub, and hub basically manages all these devices. So you have different kind of nodes. So you have this node and Android, you have another node, you have another node, and you have another node and another node. So you have all these nodes running, and they're connected to the hub. And then you run your test on your hub. So basically the hub distributes these tests among these different machines. So that's how this happens. So we will be running a hub, and then we can choose to have different machines, and on each one of these machines we will be running the server version of Selenium with by passing the option to run it in node mode. So we run it in hub mode, and then we run it in node mode. So this is how we'll do. In my case, how I set it up, I'm running it using the hub mode on the same machine and using the node mode on the same machine. All right. So let's just switch to the other machine. Okay. Okay. There you go. I thought about that as well. I think, Paul, the way to handle that is to, set the property and set it, when you do driver.manage and you set it to maximize, I guess you just set it to minimize. I, I thought about it. That's kind of a workaround, how you can kind of go about it. So you see the screen, guys? So this over here is the role with hub, and just mhm. All right. Yes. So okay, what we do, how we run it. Let's start from the top. Okay. So first of all, we need to go and download Selenium server. We already have it. Let me just still, show it to you what we need to grab. Okay, so we go here and we go into download, and then we download this Selenium standalone server version 3.0.1. Alrighty, and this is for the server part. We download this. After downloading this, we place it in our directory. where uh, Selenium. So this is where I have this jar file. Jar is, so we'll have to run it using Java. So we use the same file, standalone server for hub and for node. So first we will be running our this file as with the role of hub. Okay, so we start the command from uh, really okay. Alrighty, so command cmd. Yeah, he's pretty good, man. So we navigate to this folder, Selenium, where we have all the files that we need. So first we run, we do java-jar. So we're running jar package, and we provide the file name, and the parameters that we'll be passing is going to be dash role. And what kind of role? That's hub. So now, oh, my bad. This is not the one. The file name is incorrect. So basically Java dash jar Selenium server and dash role hub. All right. So let me just fix this. Oh, I don't like this keyboard. Okay. So here you go. So this is running the server, and if we want to register the nodes, we will be pointing to this one. All right. So we point to this. Let's see when we open this, what happens. So null pointer exception. So we're trying to register, but so basically there's nothing. I mean, it basically is a listener, an HTTP listener. It's listening something on that, on that protocol, but it's what we're trying to open in the web page and the web browser. It's not the expected result. So this is returning null pointer exception every time. Now we run it in. We run the node. So this is our server. It's running, up and running. So we need to make this the same machine as a node. So for that, what we need this. Okay, let's just go to this one, same, and Java and Chrome driver, and yeah. So we do this, we set it up in a way that we provide the, over here, Paul, this is what you were asking. Where do we use the path of the driver? So this is where, when we are setting up a node, so that node knows where the driver's path is. So we're setting it up in a way that this port would only accept the driver, this Chrome browser. So we go in Chrome and we do again the Selenium jar. This is what we're running. So role is basically, the role should be this is us setting up the cloud. So for someone, cloud is still local. I mean, if you're sitting on the machine that is cloud for me over here, then it's still local for someone, right? So, so yeah, same thing. Cloud is basically like a terminology. We're just setting up a server um, over here at the moment. Yeah. No. Okay. No. In this case, the way we have set it up Okay, over there it's a bit complicated. Why? Because we're passing all of those to a server which is set up in a much more sophisticated manner. Our server, it is super basic and it doesn't require all these different, uh, all these fancy capabilities. If we had one hub and a lot of nodes, then the hub would require the capabilities, and based on that capability, it's gonna forward that test to a specific server, to that machine, and stuff like that. In our case, because it's super simple and we only have one kind of platform, so we don't need to pass that capability. Since our hub only said, okay, I'm going to show it to you. So this is, you see this part, this is the grid that has registered with this one. It's running. So if you want to look at the node, what the node can accept, we will do so 5555, this is the port that we asked it to run on, and we go status, no, config, no, there you go. So now you will see that we have, so this is our grid. Um, Sorry, yes, this is our grid, Selenium Grid. We are accessing this grid 4444, and we go to the console, and in the console it's showing us what different we have over here. So if I were to run another one on through my Mac, it's going to show up over here. So the only one we provided is the Chrome driver over here. So, and the platform you see over there, these are the capabilities that we can provide. But if we don't provide it, it's still going to take it. Since there's only one, it's going to run it anyways. Kind of understood? Yeah. Yes, yes. So browser stack basically doesn't take the responsibility for building, compiling your project. It takes the responsibility only for running it. Yeah, yeah. Not on the server that Jenkins is running. In fact, on the server where Selenium server is running, excuse me. So where Jenkins is only gonna execute the test. So your test basically knows where to run the test, to how to communicate, which address to communicate. So if yeah, 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 yes, no, but yeah, but still the location of those drivers, Jenkins is only gonna build the jar file, the Java file. Okay, let me go back to the other machine from here. Okay, so Jenkins is gonna compile all of this, right? Entire thing. It's gonna compile it, and so it will run the basically Jenkins is gonna run the POM file, this file. This file tells the Jenkins where to get the do what to do. If you were to run this file over here, it would know what to do. It basically Jenkins is just gonna execute this command mvn. So if you say mvn somewhere in that directory, it knows where everything is. I mean, based on your POM file. So that's how it will run. And if your environment variable for Java home is set, it wouldn't ask you, it wouldn't give you any issues over there. So Jenkins is basically automating it. Jenkins isn't compiling it. Jenkins is running a compiler. Jenkins isn't running it. It's basically using a Maven to run it. So inside your code, if you have the everything, like the reason it's you are able to run it using Jenkins on the same machine is because when you download the project, when you provide the JIT, the repository link, you have the drivers included. So it basically downloads the driver, creates all of this. Let me show you. Okay, when you run, let me go back. Okay, okay, right. So Jenkins folder is this one. So, uh, where would Jenkins download the project? It does it somewhere. Uh, Jenkins user content? No. Workspace? Oh no. Yeah, there you go. Under workspace and over here. So basically, when you provide the link in your project, where did it go? Anyways. So when you're setting up your project for the first time and when you run it, basically what it's doing is it's grabbing all the files. And as part of your generic class, you have the drivers too. So it's basically grabbing everything, all the directory structure and everything the same way. And after it has done this, it is gonna execute using Maven the POM file. And Maven is able to execute this and compile all of this using Java because your variable is the home variable, Java home variable is set. Kinda answered your question, what you were asking? Okay, yes. So you're right. So if I know that I'm running it on, it's gonna be run on a Windows machine, then I need to change that. I need to change it to Win. Yes, yes, of course. Because you need to tell it on the machine because if it's gonna run the code in the same way that it was running on my Mac, then it would try to load the Mac driver and it would not be able to do it. Yes, that's exactly how you'll be doing it. And Ahmed, this answers your question, how like the test output, basically test output is gonna be let me see. No, but st the site still places it somewhere. Yeah, no, but I think he's asking where our folder in Maven framework. How you get test output folder in Maven framework? Oh, how I got the test output folder in my project? Ahmed, is that what you're asking? Yeah. So because that's the folder where Maven is when we run the Maven, it creates that folder and it stores all the compiled files and everything. That's how I get it. All right, so now once we have all this set up, what we want to do is we want to run it, right? We don't have it. You may have some other folder. Let me go back to that machine. Uh, wait, how do I go? Okay. Okay. So you don't have any folder with like which is kind of this orange colored folder. You don't change Jenkins. You make changes to your code. Jenkins is only going to execute what's written in your code. Are you running Maven? So in your runner file, you tell in your runner file where you wanna, where you want it to. So you're not running Maven, are you, Ahmed? Have you tried running Maven at least once? So when you run Maven, it should create these, you have target folder. So this is where, all the, it basically creates a copy and then it runs it. And then these are, where, you
But
have all.
I think Bilal, he had to have the Maven plugin for the report. If you don't have that in the
That's surefire.
POM.xml,
No, you yeah, in the POM XML that's surefire. So if
yeah,
you need to have that surefire in your POM so that you can run it from Maven.
right. Because other than that, he is not going to come by default. So that's what he missing maybe the plugin within the POM.xml for the report, Maven reporting.
Okay, go for it. Emmett, you're the presenter now.
Bilal, by the time Ahmed presented, so what the things that we need to change, the last word in discussion, you and Paul, what we need to change, the last thing, is it mean you talk about the path for the Git or which one?
So you need to know which machine your code will be running on. So based on that, you'll decide which driver to use. But if if you will be running it in the cloud, then you don't have to worry about it. You just you pass all these values and you tell it in which environment to run, and based on these, it's going to automatically decide which driver to use and whatnot. Since we are setting it up on our machine, we're setting up Selenium Grid. So we need to in that machine, or even if we're not setting up Selenium Grid, if we're running Jenkins on a different machine and we're running it from here, then we need to specify it. So basically, Jenkins is only gonna execute your code. It's gonna compile it using JDK and it's gonna run it. That's how it's gonna do. And what part of, since we have more than one module, what part of it, that's gonna be dictated using your root POM file. So which is why Jenkins will run Maven. Maven will execute this, your POM file, and using this you would be able to execute. All right, you can raise your hand, Ahmed, which machine, so that I know which machine I want to make you. Okay, got it. So, well, Osman, you kind of understood what Jenkins does?
I agree.
Yes, Ahmed.
Yeah, I'm trying to show you the project I have. Today, like, I was practicing with Sachin and I suddenly found out I don't have a, output folder. So, because, in that way we could find out the, the result from the test.
Yeah, the report of it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So hold on for a second. You can see my.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So this is the project I'm working on, and it was supposed to be here.
You have
Like,
that folder target over there.
target? No, like target here, right?
Yeah.
No. Here should be. Hold on. And this one I just made it, manually.
No,
But
that wouldn't work that way.
so I need to delete it first because it's.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a folder there, so you don't need to have it. So it will automatically make it. So
Do
you
I need
have
a
those.
plugin to,
Show us your POM file.
like main POM or generic POM?
No, one of your modules POM file.
Okay, so this is the main. Let me.
No, this is your root POM. Show us, let's say Amazon or CNN, one of those, whatever you were able to run using
Module.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Mm, this. Yeah, this one I'm working on. Indeed website.
So you have Surefire, yeah. So uh, okay, when you run it, it tells you where the reports are. So you can go and check the report over there.
Mm, exactly which line? Can you please give me the number?
No, so you were trying to create the report output over there as well. I think you Googled it and you tried using the tag and it still didn't work.
Yesterday I thought like sorry to interrupt. Because of like yesterday I thought because of this line number 43. So I tried to use this one, but
No.
if I enable it, it's not gonna help.
Okay, let me open up mine. Let me see where the reports are. I believe it's in the same folder. Let me just quickly see. Go in where's my folder? Okay. Projects. Um, so even that my out folder, it doesn't have anything actually. So don't worry about it. It's just there.
Yeah. So because like I was
So
checking
yes,
Mafiba.
sorry to interrupt, but yeah, I found it. So and the target is the where we will have. So you see over there, Surefire reports on your left. You see the Surefire reports under target. Yeah,
On the
keep going.
target.
Yeah. Surefire. There you go. This is where your reports are gonna be.
Okay, yeah.
So open the index.html file.
Index.html. Oh, this one, right?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the summary or
Just open it in a browser.
okay.
So right click on it, find in reveal in Finder. It's the third last, all the way
Third,
down. Reveal in Finder, yeah, and then double click on it. It
it
didn't
just
open up.
I think like in the background or something. It just disappeared.
There you go over there. Yeah, this one. So
So
just open it up.
in the Safari, right? Because
Yeah,
default is
yeah, it's gonna open up in a browser.
yeah.
There you
Oh,
go. So this is how the Surefire reports come up. You can have multiple kind, you have more than other. You can use instead of Surefire, you can use some other plugin, whatever kind of report you want to generate. But this is what it does. So you can go through it and you can see how the report comes up.
do you know any other reporting like
Use
plugins or
Jenkins.
any other
Jenkins
like
is pretty good. I mean, if you're going to be running your test in Jenkins, Jenkins generate reports as well. I think that's not bad. That's pretty
today I
good.
was trying to go through like all the plugins and I found Jira. So I wanted to hook it up, but didn't like get enough chance. But Jira
I
has
mean,
like multiple options, yeah.
I think that's going to be the same way, and within where you are, specifying what kind of report you can have like report properties and stuff like that in the documentation of Jira. You can see how you can use that plugin. So whatever plugin you'll be
Okay.
using, you
Thank
can
you, sir.
refer to its, you're welcome. You can refer to its documentation, and the documentation would have
Mhm.
all the parameters that you can use the way you would want to generate your reports and like whatever
Okay.
you want to do based on that. So there you go. Alrighty.
Thank you,
So
Bilal, for
you're
your help.
welcome. You're
Yeah, you've been
welcome.
really helpful for
Thank,
everyone.
thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
You're welcome. Really appreciate. Okay, so now what I will be showing you guys is how I am able to run it on the other machine using the Selenium Grid. So I am not just using Jenkins to run. I mean, if you can run using Jenkins and you can run it on the other machine, but I am using Selenium Grid. So I mean, I can have more than one node, and I can yeah, this one. So. So I can have more than one node, and the test is going to be separate, distributed among those nodes. So this is how I can do it. Oh, wow. Cool effect. All right. So, okay. So let me just minimize this. Okay. All right. So this is the other machine. So now you see how things were set up on that machine, and the Jenkins and everything. And let's go back to our code. And let's just run it one test at a time for now. So I am in master. I'm in master. I'm just gonna push. Oh, are there any changes that I need to commit? No changes. Okay, just push it to make sure that I have. Okay, nothing to push. So this is what I have. This is the same copy I have on my GitHub. So okay, 192.8.0.0. So this is what my test looks like. I have set it up. I provided all the parameters and everything. And every time it kind of fails because we have a lot of tests and we haven't gotten time to fix all the tests. Sometimes they fail, sometimes they pass. Some of the things that were changed on the websites, and so some tests are kind of failing. With like total, I think there are like 6 tests that are failing. We need to just fix these 6 tests out of, I don't know, like I think we have like 40 tests or something. I don't know. Yeah, 43 tests. So 6 of our tests are still failing that we need to fix. So as you see, Ahmed, I mean, this is what I was referring to. That this is not bad. I mean, the way we see the reports over here is it's pretty nice. It's telling us which ones are failing, and then we can go in and check why they're failing. So again, this is Jenkins me running on another machine. Say I just showed it to you, and I will be I'll be building with parameters. Just gonna pause the screen because it's gonna show all of my parameters. And now I'm just gonna click build. And once I will click build, it is going to. So you see over here, it's now running. So my POM file knew that it would be using the basically the POM file. In my POM file, I dictated which driver to use, which environment to use per se, for that matter. So let's go there and not my POM file, in my runner file, sorry. So my POM file is going to run this runner file. My runner file knows that the cloud environment is true, and which cloud environment to use, local cloud environment. So which is this one? So let's go and see which one is this one. This is so my local cloud environment is basically okay. If you see, the tests are running on my other machine. There you go. You see over here, they're running on the other machine. Again, using Selenium Grid. So how? Using this specific web driver, which is this one. So this is the one that over here, this is the remote driver that I am using, which is residing on this address, this hub. This is the hub. Sorry, this is the node that I am talking to. So if I have multiple, I still haven't been able to, completely, get the hang of it. I just wanted to, point to one, and I want to pass the capabilities, and using the capabilities, it should know which driver to pick up and whatnot. But was the very basic settings that I showed you for setting up a Selenium driver. I mean, now even if you would want to, and if I would have properly opened up ports and stuff like that, you can use this driver instead of you passing everything to source drivers and everything. You can point to my IP address or my my DDNS using this, and you should be able to run my resources. I mean, if you pass this, I mean, you can be, so this now this setup would mean you running it in the cloud. So this is how I'm running it in the cloud. So again, by this computer that I'm showing you right now, no resources are being used. Instead, the resources are being used for the other computer. Jenkins is running on the other one. It compiled it on the other one. It's opening browsers on the other one and running tests on the other one. So this is how I am kind of splitting my resources. Any questions, guys, so far? So let me pull up that window. You see, it's running on that machine.
And where do you specify this machine IP address in Node in the code?
In where I am creating the driver.
Hmm.
Over here, where I am creating the driver, the remote driver, that's where I'm doing this.
Okay, this is the same machine that you run in the test in,
Yes.
Bilal?
Yes.
So what about Jenkins? Is running on your local or running on another machine?
On this machine, on this one.
Where do you specify this one?
Sorry, what? Where do I specify the Jenkins? Or what? Othman, I can't hear you.
So because you launch the server manually and you click the build manually, right?
Yes.
So but for like a real-time environment or something, that maybe we need to provide the URL for the build server, which is Genkin installed in it, right?
Oh yeah. So this basically this running it's running on this machine on the other one. But you know where it's actually grabbing the code from? From a GitHub.
Yeah,
So
the code I know is from GitHub because we provide the GitHub URL.
yes.
But I was thinking the build server now is in one machine and the Selenium server in another machine.
No, they're both servers on the same machine. A server like they can I can host so many different things. I can have a mail server on that machine. I can have an HTTP server on that machine. I can have like a game server on that machine. Like I can have like there are different types of games that you can set up a server for on a
That's true.
specific machine. Again, I mean you can do whatever. So many different kinds of server that you can set up in a machine. That's your
Right.
choice or your environment how you want to set it up.
So you have the Genkin at 8080 port and you have the Selenium server node at 555 port in the
Exactly.
same machine.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, get it right.
Alrighty.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So there you go. It's still running in the background, and it's showing us that yes, it is running. So Facebook completed in 3.36 seconds. Best Buy completed in 1.33 seconds. It's yellow because some of the tests failed. We can go in and we can see, okay, there are two failures. So the test create group and the newsfeed preferences group. So these two failed. Um, I'm not the right person to answer this question. I don't know. We should be prepared. If something comes up, something like this comes up, like if it's a small company and we want to set up a server, usually this kind of job is done by your network admin, and you're not a network admin. You're not the entire IT. You would be an automation tester. You would be a tester, or you would be a test lead. You would be from the testing department. You would not be from the development department or or the networking department. So they all these they're different departments, right? So that's this job. I mean, the setting up the server could be your job, but opening up ports and stuff like that would not be done by you. And also, I don't think it's likely that you will be setting up like a Selenium Grid. But I kind of did it because I needed to. I was running out of minutes on my, browser stack and Sauce Labs. Instead of me going in and running it, creating different accounts, I kind of figured it this way and, might as well, understand it. And now you can say that you know how to set up Selenium Grid too, you know. Yeah, because I can. You just have to think out of the box, guys, and, think about, how you can implement it. That's how, I guess, that's the best way to go about it. I thought about it, how I can use the resources of my other computer, and then I came up with this, and then I implemented it. It took me literally took me like not more than 30 minutes to do so. Exactly. Yes. Yeah, maybe your company has their own internal Selenium grid running. So and you're working with the grid. You're working with that environment. So it's good to know how this is set up. So I mean, sometimes you may wanna troubleshoot it or give your input that this is how you can do do it this you can this is how you can make it better or whatever. Just understanding the concept would help a lot. So yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, if you can do it, locally, then and then you take it next one step further is by installing virtual machines inside the server. Let's say you have a very expensive machine. They give you a server to set up. Then you would not be setting it up in your main Windows. What you would actually be doing is you'll be setting up multiple virtual machines, and one of them would be Windows 10, one of them would be Windows 8, and in those machines you would be setting up multiple nodes, like a Firefox node, like different kind of nodes that you would be setting up. So this is how you would be doing that in real life. The actual implementation would be like this. Running it in different multiple virtual machines. Then you open up ports for that virtual machines. So you not only set up a server, but inside that server you set up multiple machines, virtual machines. So you do not have necessarily for like you remember the diagram I showed you where you have a hub and you have multiple machines. So instead of you make coming up buying like 6 machine or 10 machines to make 10 nodes, what you can do is you can get a multi-core, a very high-end machine like a server, and install virtual machines inside it, and then run that again. You if you are to do this kind of setup, you'll be doing it with the help of your network admin. The network admin would know how you can set up virtual machines, not using VirtualBox. Instead, they're using Windows. It's Windows own Windows. The Windows Server. Using Windows Server, you can set up virtual machines inside it. So using those virtual machines and with using working with your network admin, you would be setting up something like this. You could do it. It's not difficult. It's really easy, guys. Super simple. Very easy. Set up a batch file. Again, I'm just thinking of different scenarios how you can do it. Set up a batch file every time you boot up that virtual machine. The batch file would run, and in that batch file, you're just passing that that command that I showed you, these ones to run the server and to run the node. So if you're running the node, whatever kind of node you're running, you can have multiple versions of the browsers, you can have multiple versions of OS, and that's how you can have, multiple virtual machines, and you can set up your own browser. I mean, it depends the kind of money your company is willing to invest in something like this, because again, if you have over 100,000 tests, if you even have like 5,000 tests. I mean, if you run, let's say, 500 tests daily, whatever, you need to buy a bigger plan for that. Are they willing to spend that much on a plan, or they want you to set up a server locally? That's what the choice is gonna be made by your company. Okay, sure, Amit. I'll show you how to do it. So one more thing before I wrap up is uh, how you can. What happened? Oh, I closed the connection. Did I? Okay, no, it's running in the background. Yeah. Okay. One more thing before I kind of wrap up is uh, running the test in parallel. Now, we did all of this for something, right? In your runner file, you say parallel methods, thread count, as many counts you want. We'll go for two, because I know my computer can't handle more than that. So this is my Amazon's. So again, you need to understand parallel. What parallel? Test. You want to run parallel test, or you want to run parallel methods, or you want to run parallel classes. Again, depends on how you set up your framework. This is how you'll be doing, and then how many threads you want to allocate to methods, or how many methods you want to run at the same time, how many classes you want to run at the same time. So this is how you're going to set it up. So let's do this. My Amazon is done, and then Best Buy, I change it to 2, and Facebook, I set it to 2, and yep, 2, and Yahoo. Set it to 2. Alrighty, so let's just commit. Okay. Regarding your question, what you need to do is first of all, you need to import this from your checkout from version control. So you say GitHub over here. So you need to import this, grab this from the GitHub, and where you will be specifying, or you go here in IntelliJ, you go in preferences. I think you have a Mac, right? So it's going to be like this, same way. Then you go in version control. Under the version control, you go in GitHub, and in GitHub, you enter your credentials over here. Simple. So you would have two options: either you create a token, or you go by password. Just go by password, and you click OK, and that should do the trick. And you should be able to push and do everything. Alrighty. Thread count set to 2, and I'm gonna just commit and push. You're welcome. Okay, so now since I have updated the code, and back to project, and so you see 4 failures this time. It failed 4 tests. Okay, so here's the result. Like Amazon, there are 2 failures, and Facebook, there are 2 failures. The rest, they're all good. They are very good already. So go to here, and we build with. Just quickly gonna pause it and build with parameters, and I'm gonna be building this. So there you go. So it is now building this one. So you see the changes. It says over here thread count set to 2. Okay, let's go over here. Alright, you see 2 instances. The first one, I don't know, sometimes it kind of fails, sometimes doesn't. I still have to kind of tweak it a bit. So this one failed. The first test failed. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. You see how it's running in parallel? So there you go, maximized it. And there you go. You see how, guys, how cool is that? Running the test, parallel
That's
test.
great job, Bilal. But how the system like differentiate what test to run on this and what test to run on this, so it doesn't end up running the same test? How would happen in the background?
All the tests are being provided different instances of driver. That's how. So you run the before and after. So every time you run the before and after, it runs it for every test, and every before method would allocate a new instance of the driver. So that's how it would know.
That's true, but like the set of test cases, each instance of browser like executed within each instance of the browser, how it distributed the tests between the two open instances of the browsers. Yeah, my
So
point.
kind of. This is in our test in a runner file. We are telling it how to distribute it using methods. So every method is going to run 2 methods at the same time. So that's how it's running it. Kind of answered your question. So we have the we go in our test and test. We have this. So not this. This is another the best example. I have a bunch of tests over here. So you see over here, these are all methods. One method, another method, so another method. So for every method, before method would run and after method would run. So if before every method, it would be where you go? Where is my common methods? Common API. So before every method, I would be, running the driver, this thing. Basically, this is what I'm doing in my case. So like whatever you have over here under the before method would be run for every test, for every method. So every method is going to run this, and after the method is finished, it's going to do this. Quit, null, and whatever. So that's how. Can I answer your question or no?
Yes, but the thing is, like, let's say we have 100 test case,
Yes.
and we have 2 instances of the browser because of using the Selenium Grid.
Not because of Selenium Grid. This is not because of Selenium Grid. Selenium Grid is basically me setting up a server locally. We can do it in cloud too. Because of these 2 things, we are able to run it in parallel.
Okay, but the thing is, how can we like we make sure that we avoid running the same test case in both
We
browsers?
don't do it. We don't do it. So it's basically it's not our job to think about it. This is how Selenium was set up. It's gonna do it automatically. It knows it basically provides another environment for every instance. That's how it does it. So it knows which window, which test is running, the other window, which test is running. So basically that driver, the instance of the driver is specific to that window handler. So that's how it kind of gets it. So I mean, that part we're not taking care of. That part is being taken care of with Selenium. We just say do it like two thread count. So the rest it takes care of it automatically.
Okay, cool. But you get my point though, Bilal. Like, let's say we have
Yeah.
the test cases related to the module like Yahoo, let's say, and then
Yeah.
another module is which is Amazon,
Yeah.
and so if one instance browser running the Best Buy, the other instance will run the Amazon. That's what I'm saying. So they wouldn't end up testing the same test suite again.
Yeah, no, it would not. It knows which browser window is dealing with which method. So I didn't have to specify so that this window is running this test, the other window is running this test. That part I don't take care of.
Yeah, I see. That's a great job, Bilal.
Thank you. Any question, guys? Do we need throws exception for all of this specific link which has a chance to create exception? How do we determine the type of exception handling appropriate versus the scenario? Okay, Ahmed. So once we run the test, we will have the same report and everything over here, over there. Since we're not running it through this, even if I run it over here, it's going to be the same thing. Since I'm running it in Jenkins, I will get my report over there. So let's go over to Jenkins and let's see. So I have a lot more failures with this running in parallel. I'm assuming it's because of the resources, the limited amount of resources I have. I still kind of have to, fine tune it. We're trying. Me and Ezran, we're trying to, make it kind of perfect. But issues aren't related to us, running it in parallel. It's probably because of the resources. It sometimes gets stuck. It's sometimes, those are the things that we need to kind of fine tune. So we go in the console and we have everything over here. So if you're running through Maven, Maven is going to generate the report, the Surefire report. The Surefire report would have whatever. So over here, you see the exception. I think where we are getting it. Element info, aggregating egg path. So yeah, I mean, if we are used to, the other way, we can just run it through our IDE, and we can run it on the cloud on the other machine on which our Selenium Grid is running, and we can get the exceptions there, or we can get the exceptions over here as well. So there are two failures. So again, if we go in our output folder in our Surefire, we would know what tests are failing and what and why they're failing. Da, da, da,
And like Bilal, like by the way, if time permit, just show us how to configure your external IP address through your default gateway router. How to let that
Okay.
port open.
Which machine would you prefer me to show it on?
Yeah, let's say like you say when you want to use your external external IP address from different router or different different default gateway to access the machine. Just show us how to enable it from the port from the.
Yeah. Okay. Let me quickly show it to you how this is done. It's going to take me 2 minutes, but there's two things to it. You not only need to open up the port, you also need to set up your firewall in your computer for it to accept that connection. So let me go onto my router page. So it's going to be different for everyone, guys, since the software that's running or this firmware that's running on your router is going to be different. But terminology is the same. So what you need to go so you need to go in your advanced tools and port forwarding, right? In your routers page, how you can get your routers page. Ahmed, in Mac, you can get your Mac you can get your router's address is by going in your network preferences, and then if you're connected to Wi-Fi, go in advanced, and there you go, blah blah blah, TCP/IP. There you go. This is the address of your router. Okay, and if you want to see it in Windows machine, where is it? Where's my Windows?
We can go to the command line and run IB configure all, and this way.
The gateway. Yes, Paul. As Paul mentioned, that's the gateway that you're looking for. Gateway is going to be the router, your router's address. So you go in your port forwarding and you set up a rule to just create a new server. To create a new rule, the kind of port, just say TCP and UDP, both of them, and internal port, which port you wanna forward it to, and the external port. So whatever is gonna be the external port, what port you are getting from external. I'm using 80 because when you go to a website, uh, let's say when you go to facebook.com, uh, basically it's going here, colon 80. 80 is the default port for your web page. For your regular, not the secured, for HTTPS, the port number is different. But if you that's the default port for a website. Or in other words, that's the default port that your browser is going to point to if you enter any address. So if I enter in any address over here, let's say my IP address, and don't specify any port afterwards, it's going to point to 80. So 80 is the default port. So that's what I'm saying here. But it shouldn't be like this. So you say external port and internal port. So what external port, meaning what external, what are you going to access? If you will be, if you say, come on. So if let's say, yeah, maybe this one, no, whatever your address is, 141.128.191. So if this is the port, this is your external IP, and like if this is the IP that has been assigned to you, so and if you want to access your Jenkins from your phone, then you would be saying, let's say 8080. If this is how I'm going to be configuring, whatever, this is the external port that I'm passing. So it's going to look out for the external port, and whatever the external port is, whatever the range is, let's say I say between 5,000 and 6,000, whatever the port I receive, you pass that to the internal, which internal port you want to transfer it to. So let's say I say between 5 and all of these, you pass it to this one, and what IP address. So I select my system or your let's say your IP address or your MAC address. Again, it really varies. You need to understand how to set all of this up, and you can do it in so many different ways. You can use up a MAC address. That's like the physical address. Then you can assign. You can set up your router to always assign like a static local IP to a specific MAC address. So you can either do that, and then you can point it to the IP address over here. So this is how you can kind of set it up. Kind of understood what I kind of said?
Okay, Bilal, like when you say the 80, so 80 is like HTTP, not HTTPS.
No, HTTPS
Okay,
is for a different port.
all right, so but like when we enable the firewall and everything, and we let the port, so we should go for 80, not for.
Let's say I set up another one. Let's just do, save, and I want to add another one. Jenkins, both. Internal port is 8080 because I know that's where it's running, and 80 external port is 80. So I'll be pointing to only my server, and then it's gonna go to this machine, and I create the rule, and I save it. So let's see. If I don't specify any port, it should go to my Jenkins, because the browser is actually pointing to port 80, and the port 80 is supposed to forward to that system's IP address plus port 8080. The reason this is not happening is because I am on the same subnet. I'm on the same server, on the same network. So that's why it's not kind of working this way. If you guys want to try it out, just point to this address, bilal.dinedns.info, and my Jenkins server should come up.
So Bilal, if we try the public IP address there, the external IP address instead of the Diana DNS or something, would work?
Yeah. For me, I basically this is my external IP address. Uh, so basically, this is what I'm actually putting it here, anyways. So there you go. Yep. See, so Sachin tried it. It works. Again, the reason I'm unable to do it so because it's trying to come back to the same network that I don't know how to work to go around it. But yeah. So for me, that or this, they both mean the same thing. If I'm not home and I want to access my Jenkins server, I'll just point to that address and I should be I should be able to run my test like from wherever kind of idea.
Yeah, this is a really great feature. I mean, you can access your machine from anywhere in the world if you
Yes.
configure the port and everything. If I'm right?
Yes, exactly. Yes. So
Yeah.
whatever feature you have, whatever port it's running on, you can access it from wherever. For me, I have like a bunch of things that I've configured that I run. Let's say I want to, connect to one of my machines, in Pakistan, and though I want to connect to the remote desktop, so the router. I have like a main network, and that I have a bunch of machines, so I know which machine I want to go to, and that it would have like a specific IP, like a port number. And if I were to access my like CCTV cameras, they're on another port. So I have like I can for every port is configured in my router in a way that if I know I'm pointing towards like port 500, so 500 is for my CCTV cameras, 600 is for specific machine, 700 for is another machine. So that's like how I can benefit from it as well.
So you don't need to pay for that service, the Microsoft Remote Desktop, or
No, that's free, but I need to set it up in a way. Now my IP address over there changes every day, so I have configured in my router to update my IP address to my DDNS. So the DDNS basically is dynamic domain name server. So basically, what I'm doing over there is, even over here, what I'm doing here is DDNS is this host name. Like push my IP address after like a certain time to that to that IP to that server. So basically, whatever my IP address for this one for this the router the external IP is, it's going to push to Dyn DNS server using these credentials into this host name. So this host name is going to point back towards to my IP address. That's how I am. Yeah,
and
my external IP. Yes,
that Dyn DNS, this you have to pay for that service, right?
yes. This is a paid service. Yeah.
And I think Bilal, like if you set up your local IP address statically, which is you don't let the DHCP keep renewing your IP
No,
address or
you can't do
something.
it.
You
No.
know what I'm talking about?
No, yes, you can do it. You because it's a paid service. If you need to get a like a static IP address, you'd have to pay for it. So I mean, that's another way. I mean, if you don't reset your modem for like 6 months, then it's possible that you're gonna have. I mean, and if they've set it in a way that they don't expire, because every IP address comes with an expiry, so they're set to expire after a certain time.
Yeah,
Like
but I think Bilal, if you
2 weeks.
set it statically this way, I think it's not gonna expire because you set it up in a ring, then you configure each IP
No,
address to a specific machine. The
not
file
your
number long term.
not your external IP. You can't do that. Even if you're gonna try doing it, it would work for some time, but the next time you're gonna be, if you reset your modem or something like that, that IP address may be assigned to someone else. So
That's true.
there's gonna be a conflict, and it would not let you log on. So that's why you just can't do it. You only do it if you know this is your IP address and this isn't gonna be assigned to anyone, which means that you've paid for that service.
Okay, I see that. Yeah, you're right. If someone like reset it, that might
Yeah.
change the stuff. Yeah, but
Not just resetting it, there's a lease time again. There's after a certain time, the lease expires and the new IP address is supposed to kick in. If that's the case, sometimes it does change, sometimes it doesn't change. But after a lease expiry, I mean, if there, it's like a handshake that go between, I mean, that happens between the client and the server. So most likely you will be issued a new IP address. This is because these guys, they don't want you to host servers like just like this. I mean, you can host a web server. You can host the website, your own website from home. If it's not busy, you can just host it from home. But that's another reason why they, change your IP address, and for security reasons and stuff like that too. But that's the main reason. So you basically pay for that service. You pay them to be able to run, so that you can run these services from home, and you don't want to pay anyone else. So you pay for the static service, static IP, which I think it's not that expensive. I think so. Like getting a static IP is pretty cheap.
Yep. Thanks. Great session
You're
today.
welcome.
Thanks, Brad. Thanks, everyone.
You're welcome. Welcome.
Very
Any
nice.
questions, guys?
High level.
I don't know, not that much. It was okay. Guys, any questions? So basically, you guys thanking me, that means that you don't have any questions, just you want me to wrap it up so that you guys